Leanne. Welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. I'm sharing a journal today. I started this journal at the beginning of the year. So this is a Hobonichi journal book. And this one is the Hon, if you know or are familiar with them. It's an A6 size. My idea was to do a journal entry, like a kind of a snippet from my day, a sketch every single day. Well, you know, that's impossible for most people. I think if you achieve that goal, you're pretty superstar. But maybe I'm still superstar even though I didn't achieve it because I still did something. I don't know. I have to celebrate the small stuff. But I did use this to do my Birbfest, which was in January. And for the entire month of January, I'm pretty proud of myself. So I'm going to show you what I did for that. But yeah, this is the system. I bought this cover separately. It came with these pens this year, which is pretty cool. They're really nice. Japanese stationery, if you haven't tried it, is amazing. And their paper is super smooth and lovely. And their pens write really fine and nice. And you just cannot beat it. So I ordered this from Japan, from Hobonichi. But this is the Hon book. And that's just the version. That's what it's called. And they have different ones. This is my Birdtober sticker from last year because I completed the challenge. And then the person who hosted this gave out free stickers for those who finished it. So I thought that was amazing. So that's kind of my little badge of honor that I keep in my journal. But this is Birbfest. So every day a bird, every day in January of this year. And so I started just doing a sketch. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with this challenge. And I kind of just figured it out as I went along. And I figured it out pretty quickly. So that was good. But the paper is not watercolor paper. It's just a light paper, but it's really beautiful to write with. And so I started it with just a sketch and I enjoyed that. And then I tried doing color. I wasn't sure what I would be able to achieve with this paper. This was watercolor, I think. This doesn't look like watercolor, actually. I don't remember. Oh, this is NeoColors. That's what I used here. I didn't like this. I hated the bird. But this one I liked a lot. So this one here I did with a Faber-Castell outline, and I used the Posca pens for kind of the highlights, the pops of color, and a little bit of colored pencil crayon on the inside for that one. For this entry here, I decided to do an illustrative style, which I quickly changed out of, and wasn't very well received, I guess, on my Instagram. It didn't get as many likes, maybe because my audience is more watercolor focused, but I did try kind of this cartoony style with Posca pens, and I tried doing a sketch too. I got a new Kaweco Sport fountain pen, in the mail that day, so I put this kind of a little journal entry for the day along with my daily Birb sketch. But I did like kind of this idea of doing like the quick journal sketch, but I moved away from that pretty quickly too. For this bird, I did this with, this is Ferris Wheel Press ink. I have to keep thinking because it's been a while since I've done this. But I did this with Ferris Wheel Press ink and a dip pen, and then I did a block of color behind it, and I just used acrylic wash for this. And I really liked how the block of color made the monochromatic sketch kind of stand on its own, but it also had color to it without having color, if that makes any sense, because the sketch is monochrome. And I really liked this style. And this ink is, this is the Fairy Tale one from the Fairy Tale series. It is, let me check. So it was this ink that I used. This is the Blue Barrel Tonic from Ferris Wheel Press. You have to shake this quite a bit to get that that glitter shaken up and into the ink itself. But this is the first one I ever bought. I love it. It's really, really pretty. And I spilled it all over my desk. If you watched my winter vlog from a year and a bit ago, you would have saw that tragedy. So by this time we're day 6. And I've kind of submitted to the idea of doing this color block behind the birds. Love that. For this one, again, I used acrylic wash. And then this is watercolor with pen and ink. And I used Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen for this one as well. I have the Fude, or like the brush tip, and that's what I use that with. And so just doing my birds. I did a bird every day, and then I try to do like a little journal entry if there was something memorable or to note about that day that might have been different than every other day. This is using a Ferris wheel press ink as well, and it doesn't have the shimmer. I don't think this one does. It actually does. Yeah, it does. It's a little more subtle, but again, really pretty. And then with these ones, this was using Faber-Castell Pitt brush pens, the artist brush pens, so marker basically, and then a little bit of Posca added as well. And I think I put some pencil crayon under his beak to get this gradient, and acrylic gouache or Posca pen for this block of color in the background. In this one I used the Pitt artist brush pens as well for him to do the color, and just dropping in drops and pops of color, not doing the entire thing. And this one is strictly colored pencil crayon, and then I used acrylic gouache for the back color, which was this beautiful crimson I had that stood out really nicely with the colors of this bird. And then I used pencil crayon as the base, if I didn't mention that, and a little bit of Posca in the bird at the end as well. This one here is done again with a Ferris wheel press ink as the outline, and then I came in with some pencil crayon at the end and kind of add the gradients and the color. I was just trying different mediums with this paper, and you can see that, I mean, you can see the tomorrow's bird showing through, but for the most part the paper holds up pretty decent for sketches. It's not something I would put final art on, but it kind of feels carefree to do it this way because there's no pressure. It just feels like a sketchbook. So, and you know it's not going to be perfect in the end of the day. It's going to show through and whatever, but yeah. I like that format. This one again was Ferris wheel press ink and a blend of the two, the blue barrel tonic and then the red from the strawberry from before, and then pencil crayon throughout. I did some color swatches down here in the corner, just testing out some of the colors before I put them on the bird, and to have a kind of a color key. So if I needed to go back in the future and wanted to see any colors I used, I could reference this. And then this one here is using mostly pencil crayon, and then I came in with a little bit of marker to highlight some of the details, add some definition. I was trying to do one that was exclusively just color, no markers, no outlines, but I just found it was a little bit weak and it was falling apart in this area, so I added some definition lines. And this sketch is just exclusively marker, so again, Pitt artist pens. And using monochrome just to do a basic sketch and then some supporting defining lines and line work for the shadows and the deeper colors or shading parts of the bird. This one here is using the markers as well. I use those quite a bit, and I don't think there's pencil crayon. No, it's just marker. And I use the acrylic gouache in the background. At this point, I really enjoyed using the acrylic gouache to come in and put the block of color in the background once I was done drawing my bird. And I pretty much kept that theme throughout Birbfest for the rest, because I really liked how that looked. And then this one, again, is the Pitt Artist Brush Pens. I love these because they don't go through the page. I use them a lot in journaling and anything where I have like a thin paper like this. And I mean, especially with Hobonichi, it is really nice. I use a Hobonichi planner for my daily planner as well. Not for drawing, but just itemized lists of tasks I need to do and stuff like that. And if I add color, I always use my Pitt brush pens because they never go through the page and I don't have a mess on the other side, which is nice. This has the Pitt Artist Brush Pens and also a lot of pencil crayon as well. And then for these two, we have pencil crayon over here. This one has a little bit of shading with pencil crayon in this brown or gray area, but mostly the Pitt Artist Brush Pens. And the thing I like about those pens is you can throw down color really quickly because the brush pens are really, the nibs are really flexible. So you can just do broad strokes and be free and loose with it and make it done or get it done pretty quickly, which is really nice. Unfortunately, this bird with the pencil crayon rubbed off on my acrylic gouache here. That's something I could probably fix up if I wanted to, or I could have put some tissue paper between it, but I'm really not that worried about it. It kind of has its own characteristic now, I guess. And these two are using pencil crayon as well. and just pen and ink outline, going back to the basic black Faber-Castell pen and ink. And these ones here, so I went back to watercolor with this one. I do like how the watercolor looks, and when you watercolor on this paper, it makes it all crinkly, but I kind of like it. It kind of gives it its own character, and it feels really unique and sounds unique. This one is pencil crayon. Honestly, I don't like using pencil crayon very much. I just find that it's tiring to color with, and the strokes take forever to fill up an area. And I like quick. I like quick results, and I don't like to spend a lot of time on one piece of art. So I do definitely like watercolor for that reason. I think that's why it's my favorite. But even the brush pens too, because you can get nice broad strokes and fill it in really quickly. With these two, these are all watercolor. I didn't add anything else with them except the line work. And then the acrylic gouache as the background. I tried to do complementing colors at this point. For my journal entries, I would try to match the pen color. And for these, I used, I'm trying to remember what they're called, the Staedtler Fine Point. They're the ones that don't dry out if you leave the caps on, the really thin ones. What are they called? They're these, the fine liners. It's Tri-Plus, that's what they're called. So these ones I used for my journal entries, and they don't bleed through very much either. They're pretty good for the most part. So I would try to coordinate with the colors, and then with the spread, try to do, like these ones are more neutral, and try to keep them a little bit harmonious. But it would depend on the bird too, because if you had a super colorful bird and then a neutral bird, you pretty much got to do what you do. So in this one here, again, watercolor, really enjoying that look. And yeah, just pen and ink, basic. This one does have a little bit of NeoColor added in, NeoColor 2. And these are watercolor also. When I got to this one, we're almost at the end of the challenge, and I added these little clouds in this blue area, and I thought that looks kind of neat. It's kind of like a window or something, where you're seeing a close crop of the bird, but then you get this kind of peek through of a different world behind him. And I loved this idea, and I think I would have probably put clouds on every color block if I was starting the challenge on this day going forward, because I really loved how that looked. And I'm terrible at making clouds. I'm not very good, but I did just throw some rough acrylic gouache on top, and I thought it gave the look of clouds. You can tell that that's what I'm trying to do, even though they might not look that great, but I did like the idea. And these are my last birds. Again, watercolor. I loved how this one turned out. And this was such a fun bird to paint because it's so colorful to begin with. It's so cute. And then the color with the acrylic gouache, I just loved how that looked as well. So I tried to keep this up. The next challenge I did, I can't remember the name of the challenge, but it was a cat challenge for February. I did terrible. I didn't do much for this. I thought this one turned out really good. I was happy with this. I'm really awful at drawing cats. I wanted this challenge to really push me, and I thought that it would be good to continue, but I did drop off on this one. I did the Sphinx, which I guess looks like one. Then we start to get a little weird. This is my Russian blue cat, which I don't know what's going on here. It does not look like the cat I was drawing. And then I start to lose motivation because the cats don't look like cats, and it becomes really hard, and I just cannot figure this out for some reason. This is a Burman, and then I did this one, a Ragamuffin. I thought he turned out pretty good. I just find that when I draw cats, I really have to concentrate, and I feel like I overthink or I overstress it, and then the cats end up looking like not cats. And it really stresses me out that I can draw a bird so quickly, and it looks like a bird, but for cats, my brain just cannot wrap around the physics of a cat. So, I mean, I thought this turned out okay, but I definitely need practice. At this point, I was a little burnout on doing the daily challenges, and I kind of tapered off, and I thought that, well, you know what, I tried not to put pressure on myself and thought I'll just do journal entries as I'm able to. I'll share with you some of them that I've done. This one was just kind of an inspiration for some cherry blossoms that I was thinking of, seeing a lot of cherry blossoms online in pictures and for Japan, and decided to just do some kind of illustrative sketches there. these are some journal entries for me, what I did on those days. So for this one, my sister and I went to a cafe that is one of her favorites called Nora's, and I had a slice of banana loaf and a flat white coffee. So I decided to sketch those. This was really quick and didn't turn out, I wasn't happy with how it turned out. I took my Faber-Castell pens just to color them in and draw it quickly, but I was more interested in eating than drawing at this point, so it didn't turn out that great. This was a journal entry I had to make. I didn't feel like painting at this point, but this was a crazy event that happened at my house. And so we have a lot of birds on our property, and I went out to feed the birds, and I saw something caught my eye over on the other side of the property, and I looked, and an eagle, which we don't have eagles, I didn't even know we have them around here, but an eagle came and it landed on the road right at the corner of my property, and there was a bird chasing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And I thought that the bird was in trouble, but then I realized as I watched them, they flew up in the sky, and this little crow, well, crows are not little, but compared to the eagle, was flying up and taking swipes at this eagle, who was, I assume the crow was being territorial because the crows are always around and we feed them. And I've talked about them in other videos, but I've never seen an eagle. So this eagle was kind of poking around and the crow didn't like it. And so I went in to grab my camera, and by the time I came out, they were gone. But I saw this entire thing unfold. And when I saw the eagle land on the road, the wingspan on it was crazy. And it just like flopped down in slow motion. And then it looked back at me because I was like, oh, I think I made a noise like, oh my God. And it looked back at me with this look like, oh crap, it's a human. And then it took off. And that's when the crow chased it. It was crazy. It was crazy. I can remember every bit of it, like in my head to this day. It's like very clear in my mind because it was such like it affected me a lot. It was pretty crazy. But I have seen the eagle or an eagle a few times around here, but we don't have them very often. But we do have the crows. So I think that when I read up online, I learned that crows will go after eagles to be territorial. So I thought that was pretty crazy and pretty brave of the crow because those eagles are huge and scary. In this drawing here, I was just trying to capture an illustration I saw, and I tried to emulate it, but just basically to log it for research. But yeah, I don't know. The moment passed, but I did it. And then I think I have, yeah, one more entry in here. We just went for lunch, and I did a quick sketch of what I ate for lunch, and it looks like nothing. It's a terrible sketch, and at this point I'm burnt out on drawing, and I'm kind of in this slump. Anyways, this is April 25th at this point, and that is the last journal entry. So for the last couple months, I mean, I started out really heavy this year doing drawings every day, and I felt that I was doing really good. I was really proud of it, and then I just, you know, it's hard. A daily challenge is hard. I'm always proud of when I finish one, but it's a lot of work. So I have taken a break, and I've taken a break the past couple months. I feel really guilty about it, but I know that I just can't force myself to do the art if I'm not feeling it. So I've been doing a lot of reading. I bought an e-reader, and I've really been enjoying that. And I am going on a trip this weekend, and we're leaving for a week and a bit. We're going to Europe and doing a river cruise. I'm super excited. So I'm going to try and do some travel journal sketches while I'm away, because I do really enjoy that. And I think if I just take it as something to do, if I don't do it, then that's fine. I'm not going to put pressure on myself, but I want to have it there in case, you know, my life's going to be a little bit slower paced than it is usually. So maybe I'll have a moment to actually be able to enjoy something like that and maybe get back into sketching. I do go through these moments where like I have a block of time, a month to 2 months, where I just don't draw, and then I come back and I draw for like 8 months, in sometimes every day. So yeah, I guess we'll see. But I just wanted to share this, and I will try to continue to use this. Even if I don't, I like the, you know, what I've captured, and I like the format, so I will keep this on my desk like I do, and if anything kind of sparks interest, then yeah, I can always grab it really quickly and do a quick sketch. Even if it's not that great, I need to quit putting so much pressure on myself to make it look like something that's viewable and just enjoy the process. I think I struggle with that the most, for sure. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and this look at my Birbfest. I've been wanting to share this since I finished in January, and my slump has kind of delayed me, but I still wanted to share it because it's still fun to see. And birds aren't really seasonal. I think that you can look at them anytime and enjoy the pictures or the drawings. Anyways, if you did like this video, again, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you're notified the next time I post a video to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.